Hello. It's been a while since I uploaded a video actually. I've been watching a lot of YouTube. My favorite is Thank Noodles, and he plays a lot of horror games. My idea of my YouTube channel is going to be playing everything from horror games to just random games to live like Unspeakable and other stuff. But today I'm going to be playing Evil Nun Scary Horror Game Adventure by Kel Burton's Horror Games, I think. Before we ever play these games, this video is not going to be us playing the game, but the next video is. This video is going to be us. Yeah, y'all seen that. Granny 3 right there. But we are going on YouTube before we ever play a game. And we are going to watch the story of Evil Nun. Story of my life. That's a great song. A story of Evil Nun. The true story of the nun. Yeah, I'm just Thank Noodles. Yeah, I watch a lot. Nah, Thank Noodles. Thank Noodles. Okay. The story of Evil Nun, the first one who came up.
Even when your kitchen isn't.
On a cold winter night, an abbot found a newborn child outside the door of his abbey. The abbot brought the newborn to the nuns to take care of her. She was a female. The nuns noticed a cross-shaped scar on her right arm. They were shocked and they thought she was the devil, so they attempted to kill her. But the abbot prevented them, and he tied the arm of the child to hide the scar, and then he took care of the child. Who could do such a thing on her arm? One night when she was 5 years old, a nun found her attached to the ceiling with two beady red eyes, and she stood staring at her in the silence. The nun ran away in terror, and she called the monks with the task to abandon her somewhere in the forest so the child would have died. But when the monks entered the child's room, she had disappeared. After one day, they found her in the abbey cemetery. The monks decided to take her to the coast and leave her in front of a house. In fact, the abbot had told the monks he didn't want her to die. The child was too good to be killed. In fact, unlike the nuns and the monks, the abbot considered this child divine. The child was welcomed by a very religious family and grew quietly without having any strange episodes like that night. But one night, at the age of 15, she had a horrible nightmare about the abbey, and even during the following nights, she kept having a lot of nightmares. She had very bad memories. She started to hate that damn abbey. Then some days later, she argued with her parents because she did not want to pray. At the age of 20, her parents persuaded her to go to confession in the church. But during the confession, something strange happened to her. She became wicked. The evil had possessed her. She returned home angry and she quarreled with her family, saying she no longer believed in God. Her parents were shocked. They were very religious and they didn't want to believe what she was saying. They threatened to close her in a dark, small room to pray. So she ran away from home without telling anyone. She was sad and lost, but she was mostly angry. She wanted to take her revenge. So she decided to come back to the abbey dressed as a nun. She picked up a hammer and during the night she killed all the nuns and the monks. She only spared the abbot. He was the only one who ever loved her. Now she is the evil nun. She went in a school near the abbey and she killed all the teachers and maybe even the children. All we know is that the evil nun scared the children and she enjoyed to humiliate them, forcing them to wear a creepy mask. We don't know what happened to these children. It's a mystery. Now the evil nun is in that school praying the evil every day. She has hidden objects and creepy secrets in the school, and if you enter it, she will try everything to kill you. You must escape. A few months later, the abbot that had taken care of her was found dead in his abbey. He had committed suicide and he had left a message in the room of the nuns. It said, "That woman deserves her revenge, and we deserve to die."
Oh, 6 minutes. Now, I read somewhere that story of Rod's mom. Evil Nun is Rod's mom. True story of Ice Cream 3. Has Evil Nun in it, so let's watch.
Second World War. Rod was born in a boarding school. His mother was a good nun, whose name was Madeline. But since she was a nun, how could she have been born a child? When the baby was born, Madeline and her sisters were shocked. They said it was a miracle, since Madeline didn't remember anything, and since she never had a relationship with a man, she decided to keep the baby. One day a mysterious man appeared at the door of the boarding school, saying he was the father of the baby. Nobody knew him, but they would find out soon. He would have become a famous ice cream maker in their city. His name was Joseph Sullivan, and he was a very kind person. He offered to help the sisters in the boarding school, and he became attached to Sister Madeline, helping her with the baby. The nun, Madeline, the ice cream maker, Joseph Sullivan, and the little Rod had become a family. Joseph Sullivan was like a father to Rod. Rod loved his parents. In fact, he also made a drawing that represented him and the nun together, and another one that represented his father with a strange mask. That was the mask his father had invented to lure children into his ice cream shop. During the summer, every year, the nun and Joseph Sullivan took Rod to a summer camp, where he enjoyed climbing a treehouse that his father had built for him. But all of this was about to end. Rod, that was 4 years old, did not know that he would live the rest of his life, suffering terribly. Sister Madeline began to change. It seemed that she was no longer interested in the other sisters or even in religion. Rather, she began to hate God. She was out of her mind. Joseph Sullivan no longer trusted her. He did not understand, but she was different. One night, while Rod was asleep, Madeline told Joseph she had made a recipe of a spell that would change Rod. She wanted to give him a power that could make him better. Joseph got very angry and told her that she was crazy about contaminating a child's body. In that moment of anger, Madeline realized with horror that Joseph looked like Rod. That meant that he really was his father. But how? She didn't know him. So Madeline started shouting at Joseph, accusing him of raping her and drugging her, causing her amnesia. That night, Joseph didn't speak. He took Rod and the recipe of the spell, and he went far away. Madeline despaired because she had no idea where they had gone. Nobody knew why the nun did not call the police.
Before, he got started with a key, then a button. Now. See? It's on.
The all-new, all-electric Volkswagen ID4 with intuitive sit to start.
Eventually, neither Rod nor Joseph saw her again. So Rod began to live with his father, Joseph Sullivan. That, since he started living alone with Rod, he worked hard in reaching the secret ingredient for his ice cream. His ice cream was the best. In fact, in a short time, he became famous. Moreover, Rod loved his father's ice cream, and he wanted to become as big as him. But on the other hand, his father was mysterious and a little bit scary sometimes. Rod was 14 years old, and he was attending school. One evening, his father gave him some delicious ice cream, which contained the secret ingredient. So in one night, Rod became fat, and his classmates began to tease him and bully him. Rod cried and hated all his classmates. He just wanted to stay with his father. In April, he had a dream. In the dream appeared to him an ice cream maker with the same mask of his father. That man seemed to be his father. He told Rod to be strong, because one day he would be an ice cream maker as big as his father. Moreover, he told him that his mother would write him a letter. Meanwhile, the nun converted to Satanism, and she killed all the sisters in her boarding school. In fact, outside the school, you could see all the buried nuns. She made fun of all orphaned children, becoming obsessed with them. This was a consequence of Rod's absence. Things got worse and worse. His father died in a car accident, but nobody managed to identify the second car. In the other car, there was the nun. She, as Joseph Sullivan had become famous, found out where he lived, and she caused the accident. Rod lost the only person who had loved him. He moved, and he went to live in the home of an old woman who was her father's neighbor. That old woman was like a grandmother for Rod because before the accident, she always in her house. We could hear her voice calling Rod behind the door. In December, he received his mother's first letter, but Rod was afraid, and he didn't want to go visit the nun because he didn't even remember her. The nun wrote him a lot of letters on all of Rod's birthdays, but he always refused the invitation. The nun wanted to give him this spell. At 17 years old, Rod started to work at a cafeteria. And at 18, in a cinema. The nun couldn't go to visit Rod because she couldn't leave the children alone. The years passed. Rod started to live alone. Sometimes he went to visit his father's grave. He missed him a lot. The nun wrote him letters for 10 years. Rod was 25 years old. He received the last letter from his mother, tired of waiting, with a strange book. In that book there was the recipe that Joseph Sullivan had stolen from Madeline. The formula would have been, but with equal possibility to create a good man or a monster. Rod thought about this a lot. He took the potion, and after a moment of suffering, Rod was no longer the boy he once was. His skin was cold. His soul was cold, too. He was unable to feel emotions. He had the obsession of the children, exactly like his mother. He found a job as a caretaker of a playground, where he looked at the children. Here started his plan. He decided that he would kill those fat children with something that would avenge his father. The ice cream. Rod, since his father's death, had never eaten ice cream again. But anyway, he studied a lot to prepare his own ice cream. He bought a stall where he lived and where he was planning the secret ingredient. Rod bought a van and a garage near the cafeteria. Rod put on a mask, taking the idea of his father. The mask you can see in the garage is his father's first mask. He wrote the book, his diary. 1975. He found the secret ingredient. Daniel J. stole it from Rod. Rod now has all his friends in his van. He's gonna kill them all. Or maybe there is still hope. In the same year, the nun, Madeline, managed to reach the camp where Rod spent the summer. She is now almost old, but full of desire for revenge.
I will finally return with my precious son.
And that's going to be God, I'm stretchy. The end of this video. Now, before I edit this, I'm going to watch that one right there. Evil Nun is Rod's mom. Granny will be the last one I play because I suck at Granny 1 and yeah, this is how I learned how to play these things. I watched other people play them. I've watched Evil Nun 2 and everything. Ice Cream 4 Story Timeline, and that's the one what we're gonna be watching. But on number 4. But that's it. Bye. Have a great time. Hopefully y'all had a great Father's Day. Peace out.